All right, so we look at how we remove that block that was placed in the file that is no longer in use by using the purge command. So if I type purge, that's the command, purge, you will get a list. Now, all of the things here that can be purged are here. So if I click on blocks, you will notice the only one that shows up in this list that can be removed is the one that is called Win1200 top bad block. Why? Because I removed it out of here and I deleted out of the drawing, so it can now be removed finally. So once I click on this and choose the option that says purge and tell it purge this item, there are other things that can be purged, but I don't want to purge them. For example, any layer that I would not have used yet. I have not used my dimension layer yet, nor the foundation wall layer, nor the text layer. So those can be merged too because they are not yet used. But I'm not going to purge those. So that is why I didn't just say purge all, because all the things that are not in use would be purged, and then I would have to go and recreate them. So let me just close. Let's see if that block is still in the file. If I go I for insert, enter, just check in this list, you will notice that the block that was called Win1200 top bad block is no longer in the list. So it has been purged fully out of the drawing. And that is how you can get rid of objects that are unused. All right, so let me get rid of this one by deleting it. It was not made into a block, so this will not affect our block list. So erase. All right, so we're going to move, and just in case there are persons using 2020, let me just quickly recap how that part is done in 2020, how you would insert the object using the new insert, the insert blocks, the blocks palette. So let me share the 2020 screen with you. And actually I'm using 2021, which was released last week, Wednesday, I think. All right, so in 2021, it is similar to 2020, where they now have this blocks palette rather than the insert palette. So if I want to update a block or insert a block that was created, I'm not going to do the issue with the problem again. I'm just going to insert a block all over just to practice. So let me erase this one and this one because they are the same size. All right. So if you type I for insert, you will not get the insert dialog coming up. Instead, this time around, you are going to get your blocks palette. If I go to recent blocks, I am seeing this one because initially I had brought the block in again, so it remembers it. But if it was inserted before in the drawing, you will now find it in this list. So all of these blocks were inserted before. So if I come here, this is the one that says Win 1200 top, and this one is Win 1200 top Friday. So this particular file has two of them in it because I brought one in and just delete it back out. So that was the Wednesday group one, which is this one. And this one and this one belong to the Friday group. So if I want to insert over something that was in it, I should not be browsing again. And if you wanted to insert one that is not in this list, if you're using the 2020 or 2021 version, then what you would do is instead of searching for it in the list which is not there, you would come up here and click on your down arrow and choose, well, this is just to get it in the different options. I think they have made a change in the software in 2021. In 2020, there were three little dots here, and you would click on them. So let me see. All right, so what they have done in 2021, which was not in 2020, is that in 2020, any of the tabs you're on, you could basically click on a little icon here with three little dots to browse, but they have removed it from the current drawing tab. They have removed it from the recent drawing tab. I'm not seeing it here. So the only place you can get it now in 2021 is go to this one. And then now you would have to use this now to go to open because it is now from the libraries that you're going to be going. So I'd have to browse to my block library using this option. So let me just browse there. So that would be the difference in 2021. So I'm going to browse to my block library folder and bring in that same one. Now, because it was inserted already, it is going to tell me that it is being replaced. I'm just going to say replace because I know it's there before, but usually we don't browse unless we are fixing the problem. But there's no problem. I just wanted to show you how you would browse in 2020 or 2021. All right. So I'm going to click open and you will notice that it is now here. Okay. Now, if I click on it and come to the screen, let me just go again. Apparently didn't put it back again because, okay, it's there now. All right, good. So I'll click on it and notice because it was in the file before, it is telling me that it is already in the file. So I would have to choose the options that says redefine. But let me cancel this first because I want to remind you of the options down here. So I want to be able to rotate it while inserting as well as repeat repeat placement. All right, so let's bring it in again. So I'm going to click on this and then click redefine. But usually we choose redefine when we are fixing a problem. I just did it with the 2021 version just to show you how to do it, how to browse. So if you're using 2021, you're going to have to know now that you go down to your libraries tab. I think this was called other drawing in 2020. So it was current drawing, recent drawing, and other drawing. They have changed it in 2021 and call it libraries. All right. But it works the same. It's just that in 2020, you could have browsed from any of the three. You get three little dots up here that you could browse, whether you're on the current drawing or recent drawing or this one you could. And I really thought to myself that wasn't really necessary to have it under the current drawing and the recent one because it's really, if it's in your drawing already, then you don't need to browse. And if you would have done it on the machine, you wouldn't need to browse. So you would need to use this one. So it makes more sense now that they have actually fixed it in 2021 by putting the libraries tab and give you the option to browse. All right. So all I would need to do now is click here to place it. But because I chose the option to make it rotate while inserting, I would now have to click another point to ensure that it is going in at 0 degrees. And that would be 1, but you can now continue because we chose the option that says repeat placement. So it means therefore I don't have to go and insert it again at a different angle. I just come here, click it in place, and then choose the angle. Good. And I could continue on and on and on, but I'll press escape to cancel. All right. So if it is that you need another block to be inserted, this is the icon that you would click on to browse again. So the first time when nothing was there, you would get the option that says open block library. But after it start populating, that option would no longer be here. So you'd have to click on this button to display and navigate your way to there. This option is just to view them in different option, list form or as large icon. So for example, if you're here and you don't want to see these icon looking things, you can come here and choose list and it just show it in a list. But most people prefer to keep the large icon, and I wouldn't use the extra large icon. That's too much space. The large icon, so you can literally see the graphical display of it. All right. So that would be the difference in 2020 and 2021. So if you happen to download the 2021, then you need to know the difference between what happens in 2020 and 2021. Okay. All right. So any questions that you can ask now, because I'm about to go into something new for the, I'm not going to save the changes in this, so I'll switch back over to my 2019 version. In the meantime, you can ask a question if you wish. All right, so I'm back in the 2019 I'm back in the 2019 version of the file. Okay, great. So at this time now, I really want to introduce how you how you work with annotations. So that's a new area we're going into. So the graphical part of the drawing is now at a stage where we could say that it is complete for the floor plan. Don't want any more symbols. All the doors are in, windows and everything else. But I need to annotate my drawing by adding drawings. Sorry, not adding drawings, adding annotations. So we're going to be looking at how you work with annotations. All right. So that is where we're looking at now. Adding annotations. Now, the first set of annotations that we will start with is text. We're going to do dimensions afterwards. So in the drawing, we're going to have some room text for like kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, living room, and so on and so forth. And the other annotation that we're going to have is the option to put in a title for floor plan. So it's two different methods of inserting we're going to be looking at, right? But before we start inserting our text, the recommendation would be to create what I call text styles. So if you notice kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, and those things, beside all of them, I have RT50, 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 as well as I have RT beside one of them. So let me now make that clear as to what's going on right here. So RT50, I use RT as an abbreviation for room text. What the 50 is saying is that I plan to insert this text style in a drawing that is going to print at a scale of 1 in 50. That's what it means, right? Then there's also T50, and T means title. So the title would be like your floor plan title. And there is TS50, where TS means title scale for 1 in 50. The same principle applies for the other scales. So I would have a T100, a TS100, a T20, a TS20, because all drawings that will be printed at all scales will have a title below them, right? So it's the same principle. Not all drawings, though, would have a floor plan at all scales. Usually, the floor plans will be at scales such as 1 in 50 or 1 in 100. You're not going to have floor plans with scales 1 in 200 and 1 in 10 and those. No. It's usually residentials are mostly 1 in 50. And those large commercial drawings, you may have those going up to 1 in 100. Okay? Because it will be too large to print on a paper if it print at 1 in 50. So you might have to choose a different scale so that it makes the drawing smaller. I have to apologize for the background sound that you're hearing because my neighbor seems to be cutting grass today. So I'm hearing the waka. I don't know if you are hearing it. Are you hearing it loudly in the background?
No, the dog barking.
Oh, you hear the dog. Oh, you don't hear waka because it's very loud here. It's disturbing me. Anyway, it's good that you're not hearing it. All right. So what we're going to be doing now is to look at how you create what I call textiles. So I'm going to be introducing you to another standard that I have created. Remember the first standard I gave you was called layer standard. This other standard is called the text standard. And there's the dimension standard, both of which are in the same handout. Right? So I have a handout on Moodle, same place where you got the other handouts called typical text and dimension style setup for AutoCAD. And then we're going to be having another standard for multi-leaders with the arrows and stuff like that, and one for tables. So every time I introduce things, I'll just go through them to let you know how to use it. So the second column rather, because the first column is the title. So my second column here says plot scale. So typical plot scales will be like 1 in 50, 1 in 10, 1 in 100, 1 in 20, 1 in 200, and so on and so forth. Right? Now, what is very important after I finish go through this, I'm going to explain a concept while I'm going through it. So here are the style names. So I told you before that RT50 would mean room text for 1 in 50. Now, the one that did not have a 50 beside it, which was RT, I have in bracket beside it anno, which means annotative. So I'm going to explain to you how we use texts that are annotative as against those text styles that are not annotative. So I'll go without the annotative explanation for now, and then I'll come back and do it. So this one is the T50, and this is the TS50. So title for 1 in 50, title scale for 1 in 50. Specs 10, specs T100. So because I don't have RT10, you know, you'll be putting specifications in a 1 in 10, on a 1 in 10 scale drawing, all right, or 1 in 20. So I have specs 20 and specs 10. Okay, so here it is T10, TS10, T100, TS100, T20, TS20, T200. So the same principle where all the T whatever will be for the title and the TS would be for the title scale. So the focus right now is just on the 1 in 50 because the floor plan is going to print. Our floor plan is going to print at a scale of 1 in 50. But the principle that I'm laying down right now is the same for all scale. It doesn't matter if it's 1 in 50, 1 in 20, 1 in 100, 1 in 200, whatever it is. So I just need to teach it one time for one scale and you understand it for all scales. So I've gone through the first column, which is the intended plot scale. These are the style names because we don't want to create text styles and call them text 1, text 2, text 3, text 4. And then when it's time for us to use them, we don't remember which text style is going to do which function. So what I've done is to give them names basically kind of depicting the function that they are going to be playing. So when I say RT50, I know, okay, that's my room text. When I say T50, I know, oh, that's the title for my for my title for 1 in 50 scale floor plan. That's the title. And TS50, I say, oh, I know that one is for my title scale. That's the scale that says scale 1 in 50. All right. So that's what this column is doing. The third column now that I'm explaining has to do with which font name I'm using and style. So the font names that I'm using, I'm only using two fonts, Arial and Tahoma. So when you see a R, it means it's regular. And when you see B, it means that it's going to be bold. So I'm going to embold. It's emboldened, so it will look thicker. All right. Now this column here is showing you what the intended plot height will be. Meaning when the drawing is printed to a scale of 1 in 50, the text size on paper is going to be 4 millimeter that I want. So the rule of thumb is what I'm about to explain now. So this column here represents the intended height on paper. Okay. So if it is that when the drawing is printed to a scale of 1 in 50, I want the height to be 4 millimeter, then the principle is because we draw, we must remember that when we're drawing in AutoCAD in the model space environment, we are always drawing full scale, which means 1:1. And if we're going to draw to a scale of 1:1, it means that if the drawing is going to print 50 times smaller, the same thing is going to happen to the text. So I need to also make my text be 1:1. So to get the text to 1:1, meaning full scale, I need to make it 50 times bigger than it will be when it print. So I can't make the text 4 millimeter on screen, or else when it print 50 times smaller, then it will disappear. So what I need to do is to print it 50 times bigger. So I need to print it 4 times, let's go back there. I need to go 4 times 50. 4 times 50. So therefore, I need to make the text 200 millimeter. So the 200 millimeter now represents my full scale. All right. Somebody is saying no. That must have been from before. Okay. So my full scale for the text would have to be 200. So the rule of thumb is whatever height, whatever height, sorry, the rule of thumb is whatever scale you plan to print the drawing, you need to multiply the text, the intended size on paper by the intended plot scale. So if you want it to be 3 mm on paper and you go and print it 1 in 50, it's 3 times 50. If you want it to be 5 mm on paper and your plot scale is 1 in 50, it's 5 times 50. If you're going to print it 1 in 20 and you want it 3 mm, it's 3 times 20. If you want to print 1 in 100 and it's 3 mm on paper, 3 times 100. Everybody get the gist? So it is height on paper times plot scale. So this column over here represent the full scale height, which is the style height column. But somebody might be saying, but wait, how comes 4 times 50 also equal 4? Well, that one is a different situation. When you make a text style annotative, there is a feature in the software, which I'll introduce in a little while, that will do the calculation for you. So you don't have to manually make the text style 200. You make it 4. And then you turn on the feature and it will do the multiplication for you, which is still doing 4 times 50 and make it 200. It's just that when you are making the style, you need to make it 4 so that it can do the job, right? Because it will do the calculation in the background for you. Now, this one down here, where I have a style called dim t. Now, dim t means dimension text. We're going to be setting up the dimension style after we finish with the text. But this one means, if you notice, I have 0 here. If you make a height 0, then of course you know that you won't see it. But AutoCAD has the feature that when you make a height 0, it will force it to be 2.5, but that's not the real issue. The real issue is when you give it a height of 0, later on you will be able to manipulate the height and change it to what you want. When you give it a height of 4 or 6 or whatever else, when it's time to use it, it is going to already have the height, so you won't be able to change it depending on what you're doing. So that is the distinction. When you make it 0, then later on, when it's time for you to use it, you have the flexibility to change the height. It's just that when you make it 0, the software is going to force it to be 2.5. I guess Autodesk is saying that the smallest you want to make your height on paper is 2.5, because anything smaller than that, nobody will be able to read it. So, but I don't work with 2.5. I work with maybe 3 or 4. On this thing here, I have 4 as my smallest height and 6 as my largest height. So all my titles will be 6 mm on paper, and all other heights of other text will be 4 mm. So I'm just working with 2 heights. Okay. So what we're going to do now is to look at how you create the text styles first, and then we're going to look at how we use the style. All right. So let me jump back over to the software, and then we are going to create our text style. But I want to practice good form. I want to practice